coming there.
Okay.
How will you get the police work optimally? How much will you invest that police will not? What will police do? Police has a limit.
And where's the funding for the
funding,
investments?
who will fund them? Is government even ready to fund them? Will government pay them?
Can government pay them, especially with oil going through what she's going through now?
That is what I'm saying. The government, even when they have the resources to pay, are they willing to do so? Do they think it's necessary to fund it and provide the security, which is the primary government? Within the police sector itself, what is that thinking? Who are those involved? What kind of orientation do they have? It's a decadence that has eaten deep into the fabric of our nation. So it is. I don't know how we're going to control it. It is God that is going to come to deliver us. Because if you see what is happening now, you talk of palliative. You bring 10 bags of rice or 5 bags of rice in the whole community. They begin to ration it. Before you know it, 1 cup. You eat it today. It's not even enough to feed 1 child.
Let's move on.
So what do you want them to do?
Let me move on to Dr. Ostesado. Let's get your point on this here. Looking at security.
And it's not just security. I think this
the rising crime, that's actually what you said.
Yes. I think this COVID has actually exposed our nation for what it actually is. There's hardly any sector that is not having challenges. With respect to crime, I think that a lot also is social about it. I don't know what our national values are. I don't know what our cultural values are. I find
it's because our cultures are diverse.
Even at that, if you were to look at it and
holistically, right?
Yes, and just to pose, you still see that even within the minor groups, or not minor, maybe the specific groups now, that even amongst them, you really won't say this is exactly this is what we are standing for. That's the biggest challenge. It's not COVID. This thing has always been there. I tell people, honestly speaking, I don't think that I will have children that will steal. Even if there's no money in Nigeria, they will prefer to die honorably than take advantage of another person. And I think that that's the kind of mentality that we are lacking in this country. Whether it is in our education, the person who cheats in examination does so because he doesn't believe in honor. It's the same attitude that leads people to steal. It's the same attitude that leads people to be violent, take advantage of the weak. When you just think about yourself, let's assume that it's COVID. Is there anybody that you should go to steal from now? There's nobody. We are all endangered. But people will give you an excuse of COVID. They give you an excuse. It is because it's in us. So let's begin to find a way to deal with those. And educationally, we've been exposed. In our health, we've been exposed. Industry, we've been exposed. Security, we've been exposed. So we need a reset. For me, that is what this COVID has actually shown us. We need a reset of our mindset, a reset of policy. When you have a crisis is an opportunity for you to do something drastic to change the narrative. We need to do that. I'm not an economist, but I don't believe that the problem of unemployment is a big problem with this COVID in this country. I don't believe so. Because who were actually employed?
In the first case.
In the first place. So where is our strength? Our strength is in our land. And people are not going to the farm, largely because of insecurity. So, and it started even before COVID. Government didn't think it was something they should consider. When women can no longer go to the farm, men can no longer go to the farm, whether alleged or proven, headsmen and other forms of brigands are all over the place, dealing heavy blow on the psyche of the people, instilling fears on them. We need to begin to think of how to reset. And my feeling is that during this period, physical policing is not going to be useful anymore. We have come to that point where we must embrace technology. I mean, a street of about 100 houses with less than 5 million can police that street technologically.
Yeah.
If you have up to 20 cameras on a street, with less than 5 million naira, you can do that. So if the people...
But wouldn't you also need data for that to work efficiently?
No. The data, it's a simple thing. You are not connecting it anywhere other than just, you are not linking up to it. And because it's not going to work.
No, I mean data, so that you could know who you're seeing.
No. The data is something you do. It's cheap. To the extent that I know that if you were to police a state with your camera and it's somewhere, outsiders don't know where your camera is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you can even put it in such a way that it's a mobile one. You can have a mobile technology that help you see your house while you are in this office. So why are we, and it's not expensive. So why are we not going to be thinking about, people will tell you there's no money, but when they get into somebody's house, the person will claim they've taken 2 million naira. So we must begin to think of community, helping ourselves to find a way to deal, because it is lack of deterrence that is emboldening these people. If there is deterrence, then criminals will also know that there's consequence for every of the actions they take. If you give everybody employment in Nigeria, there are those who will live even in the midst of that job, they still go out to rob.
That's true.
So it's a social problem, and we must begin to think of we must begin to think of how to use technology and deter people, put fear in them. But again, as I said, we need. You heard what the minister said. Sorry, I'm just saying that the minister said they were going to ask. They were going to teach students their virtual online.
Yes.
And you ask them, how many students have facility to get that?
To have access
and you are
to
going to do it on NTA. And NTA will teach one subject across, one course for the entire Nigerian universities, or for what? They don't even have the infrastructure. So our leaders must begin to think on how to deal with these challenges so that COVID becomes an opportunity for us to reset and begin to move forward.
All right, then. Got your thoughts on that, Dr. Austin Santo. Dr. Emmanuel Warner, let's give it a shot before the news update.
Yeah, Annie. A few days ago, I was just contemplating on this COVID-19. And I was like, what happens if this coronavirus remains with us in the next 3, 4, 5 months? I'm just wondering. My contemplation is based on the fact that, look, we are already in a very helpless situation. We're already, like those of us in Nigeria, we're already plunged into economic quagmire. And, just like Marx said that the economy is the substructure upon which the superstructure lies. What that means, therefore, is that if anything happens to the economy, it will affect the superstructure. It will affect politics. It will affect social order. It will affect culture. It will even affect the religion. And if you look at these variables I've mentioned, they are not in a better place even before COVID-19 in Nigeria. So what happens? And again, it also, for me, I think it should be an eye-opener for Nigerians, particularly our leaders. Look at what is happening to the price of oil. And this is a monoculture economy. We are solely depending on oil. And some of us have been talking about diversification of this economy. And of course, you also realize the fact that the world is locked in a system, as a system theory that explains the fact that you have parts that make up a system, and these parts are interrelated and interdependent, to the extent that if anything happens to one part, it will invariably affect the other part, and indeed the entire system. And that's the problem we are facing now. Now, if you look at the economy, of course, from the security point of view, security is also dependent on the economy. Because, for the Hobbesian postulation, Hobbes argued that every man is driven by felicity, that desire to survive. Every man. And I've said this some time ago that, look, if anything happens to the means of survival of a person, that person, whether is a pope, archbishop, imam, or general overseer, or Baba Radua, will do everything humanly possible to survive. You may not, given your level of morality, you may not openly carry a gun and and begin to shoot people to get what you want. You may also steadily, surreptitiously do it.
Or not. Or not.
Yeah.
I still believe that there are people who will still be there and not do it.
Some people maybe they just saw God and came back.
It's not true.
Maybe they did, but they exist.
Okay.
We're trying to make it look like every human being.
Those of us,
we're trying to make it look like every human being will have to take to a life of crime once everything gives.
And human nature.
With a greater number.
Ordinarily.
I don't have those figures really. Maybe when we get there, we'll
the greater number.
I don't. Greater number.
Given the nature.
Human nature ordinarily. I don't think that
human nature is not Nigeria.
No. What I'm saying is that Nigeria is not Nigeria. If it's not Nigeria, we are living as Nigerians.
The point I'm making is that Nigeria does not translate to humanity.
Okay,
as Nigeria, I think I have
let's Dr.
Yes, as Nigerians, we are faced with extraordinary situation, like I said earlier. So this coronavirus is adding salt to injury. That's the point I'm making.
That's true.
And so, if that is the situation, you expect that crime wave will increase exponentially in this country. In fact, I was also wondering what will happen to those of us, my colleague can bear witness, for the past 2 months.
You people don't join IPPI?
Yes, we don't have salary.
So,
yeah. And of course,
maybe when you're hungry, you finally join the IPPI.
No,
you take to a life. You eventually take to a life.
It's a question of honor. It's a question of honor and integrity.
You see, the point I'm making is that,
and I'm glad that you pointed out to Dr. Warner.
If you face a situation like this, I'm not saying something myself. If you get to a point where what you have saved there in the bank account, the psychology of wealth, of capital as a factor of production is that you must be adding something incrementally to it.
Yeah.
If you cut that supply, no matter a time will come when what you have will be exhausted. And it's that point we are looking at. A time will come when that will be exhausted. So if you get to that critical situation and nothing is coming, no matter who you are, I'm not excluding myself, you look for something to survive. Either you go openly begging, either you just...
No, we understand begging, but we're talking about crime here.
No. What I'm saying is that the crime will also mean that, look, you will do something that will ensure, you'll be sure that you are going to survive.
No, that's not crime. Crime is when you've done something wrong. To ensure that you survive and you're now
if you
begging.
Say crime is when you do something wrong.
That you're saying begging now.
How do you conceptualize wrong?
That you said that you mentioned begging
I'm just taking you from what you said now.
I'm correcting you on something. You just threw in begging there.
Begging
let me tell you how we
I just said
communal conscience.
I just gave a lighter example.
Don't give a lighter
example.
But a point comes, whether you like it or not. A point comes when you are pushed to the wall. You will do something. I say it may not be that you carry gun and go openly and begin to steal. If you have the opportunity to take something that does not belong to you just to survive, you do it and you cover up.
All right, well, we got your point.
But the point I'm making
I'll come back to your point that you're making because you've been making several points. We'll take a break. The news updates next.
But not everybody.
What? Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. Rivers Ministry of Education has warned against exploitation of parents by private schools under the e-learning program. Commissioner of Education Professor Kanye Ebeku was reacting to a protest by parents who claimed to have received letters from the management of some private schools in Port Harcourt to pay certain amounts of money. Ebeku, in his reaction, said all schools ought to stop such actions or face the full wrath of the law. Commissioner for Education also emphasized that there has been no announcement on revised academic calendar as claimed by some private schools who are asking for third-term fees from their pupils. Authorities of Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State have reopened the premises of Coverton helicopters at Air Force Base. The Council Chairman Solomon Abel Eke unsealed the premises following a directive by the Rivers State government. Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice in the state, Professor Zacchaeus Adango, said Governor Nyesom Wike reversed his eviction of Coverton helicopters following the resolution of the crisis. Adango approved the reopening his premises after its management apologized state government for flouting its executive order. The Obiakpo local government area host Coverton helicopters had sealed the company premises after it was declared persona non grata